Men, listen up. What I'm about to tell you will save you from endless frustration, heartbreak, and wasted time. If you've ever wondered why some relationships feel like emotional battlegrounds, the answer is simple. You missed the warning signs. And trust me, women always give them. Here's the harsh truth. Not every woman who enters your life has your best interests at heart. Some women, consciously or not, wield their words like weapons, testing boundaries, manipulating emotions, and sometimes planting seeds of doubt in your mind. These phrases might seem harmless at first, but they're massive red flags if you know what to look for. Now, this isn't about bashing women or putting anyone down. It's about recognizing patterns and protecting yourself. Every man deserves respect, honesty, and a partner who adds value to his life, not someone who drains it. If you've ever felt manipulated, belittled, or just plain confused by what's being said to you, you're not alone. Thousands of men are walking around clueless, tolerating behaviors that should be deal breakers. And here's where the controversy kicks in. You've probably been told to just listen to her, be patient, or give her time. But I'm here to tell you that when certain words come out of her mouth, patience is the last thing you need. In fact, it's your cue to walk away immediately. No second chances. No, maybe she didn't mean it that way. Just turn around and leave. Why? Because these words are often signs of deeper issues: control, lack of respect, or even manipulation. And the longer you ignore them, the worse things will get. You deserve a partner who uplifts you, not one who plays mind games. In this video, I'll break down 5 specific things women say that should send you running for the hills. By the end, you'll know exactly what to watch out for and how to handle these situations like a man who knows his worth. So, are you ready to take control of your relationships and stop settling for less? Let's get into it. One of the biggest red flags in any relationship is when she says, "You're too sensitive." On the surface, it might seem like a harmless comment, maybe even a joke. But let's be real, this phrase is rarely used in good faith. It's often a way to shut you down, invalidate your feelings, and make you second-guess your own emotions. When a woman says this, what she's really doing is dismissing your right to feel how you feel. Think about it. Relationships are built on mutual respect and understanding. If your emotions are constantly brushed off or ridiculed, that's not respect. That's emotional neglect. Now, here's why this is dangerous. Being called too sensitive over and over again can lead to self-doubt. You'll start questioning yourself. Am I overreacting? Should I just let it go? Before you know it, you're bottling up your emotions just to avoid conflict. And guess what? That's exactly what she wants, to avoid accountability for her actions or words. Let's paint the picture. Imagine this. You bring up something that's been bothering you, like how she constantly shows up late to plans. You calmly express your feelings, and instead of addressing the issue, she says, "Oh my God, you're so sensitive. It's not a big deal." What just happened? She turned the situation around to make you feel like the problem, completely ignoring the valid point you raised. When this happens, it's a clear sign she isn't interested in addressing your concerns. Instead, she's more focused on deflecting blame and keeping the spotlight off her behavior. Over time, this kind of dismissal can create a toxic dynamic where you're afraid to speak up at all. The truth is, your feelings matter. A healthy partner will listen, even if they don't fully agree, because they value your perspective. But someone who constantly calls you too sensitive is showing a lack of empathy, and that's a deal breaker. So if you ever hear this phrase, don't brush it off. Pay attention. It's a warning sign that the relationship might not be as balanced as you think. Know your worth and don't settle for someone who invalidates your emotions. Few things sting more in a relationship than hearing the words, "My ex was better at." This isn't just a casual comment. It's a power move, whether she realizes it or not. When a woman compares you to someone she's been with before, she's sending a clear message. You're not good enough. Let's get one thing straight. No healthy relationship is built on comparisons. When someone constantly brings up their ex, especially in a way that puts you down, it creates insecurity and resentment. Instead of feeling valued, you're stuck competing with someone who isn't even in the picture anymore. That's not love, it's manipulation. Here's why this is such a toxic phrase. First, it's meant to make you feel inferior. Whether she's talking about how her ex was more romantic, made more money, or was more adventurous, the underlying message is the same. You're not meeting her standards. Second, it shifts the power dynamic in her favor. By keeping you on edge, she makes you feel like you constantly have to prove yourself. Picture this. You've planned a special date night, dinner, her favorite flowers, everything. But instead of appreciating your effort, she says, "This is nice, but my ex used to take me to fancier places." In that moment, your effort is dismissed, and the focus shifts to someone who has no relevance to your relationship. It's not just disrespectful, it's emotionally damaging. When a woman plays the comparison game, it's a sign of deeper issues. Maybe she hasn't fully moved on from her past, or maybe she's using comparisons as a way to control you. Either way, it's not your job to live up to her memories of someone else. You're your own person, and you deserve a partner who sees your unique qualities, not someone who constantly measures you against their past. The bottom line? Don't tolerate this behavior. If she's truly invested in your relationship, she won't feel the need to bring her ex into the conversation, especially not in a way that undermines you. If she keeps doing it, it's time to walk away. You're not competing with her past, you're building your future. When a woman says, "If you really loved me, you would," it's not just a casual statement, it's manipulation wrapped in the disguise of love. This phrase may seem innocent, even romantic, but let's call it what it really is: emotional blackmail. Here's why this is such a major red flag. Love is about trust, mutual respect, and freedom. It's not a bargaining chip. When someone uses love as a weapon to get what they want, they're twisting the very foundation of your relationship. What they're really saying is, prove your love to me by doing what I want, regardless of how you feel. Let's break it down. This kind of statement creates pressure. It puts you in a position where you feel obligated to say yes to something, even if it's uncomfortable or goes against your values. It could be something as small as changing your plans last minute, or as serious as compromising your boundaries. And the worst part, if you push back or say no, you're suddenly the bad guy who doesn't love her enough. This tactic can be incredibly damaging over time. When someone constantly uses ultimatums like this, it chips away at your sense of autonomy. You stop acting out of genuine care and start acting out of fear. Fear of conflict, fear of disappointing her, or fear of being labeled as unloving. And here's the thing, no matter how much you do to prove your love, it's never enough. The goalposts will keep moving. Today it's one demand, tomorrow it's another. That's because the issue isn't about love at all, it's about control. A healthy relationship doesn't need ultimatums. Real love is shown through consistent actions, not forced gestures. If someone truly cares for you, they'll respect your boundaries and trust your intentions. They won't need to test your love with manipulative phrases like this. So if you hear the words, "If you really loved me, you would," take a step back and think, is this someone who values you for who you are, or someone who's trying to mold you into what they want? If it's the latter, it's time to walk away. Because love should never feel like a test. When a woman says, "You're lucky to have me," it might sound playful or even flattering at first. But let's take a closer look. What's really being said here? Is it confidence, or is it a subtle way of putting you down while elevating herself? Most of the time, it's the latter, and it's a sign you need to wake up. Men, let's be honest, too many of us ignore these kinds of comments because we're conditioned to think it's normal. We shrug it off, laugh, or even agree because we don't want to rock the boat. But here's the truth. This phrase is a veiled insult, not a compliment. It's a way of saying, "I'm the prize and you're just lucky I'm tolerating you." And if you're okay with hearing that, then you're setting yourself up for a relationship where you're always on the back foot. Now, don't get me wrong. Confidence is attractive in anyone, and knowing your worth is important. But when someone constantly reminds you how lucky you are to be with them, it's no longer confidence, it's arrogance. And the moment arrogance enters the picture, respect starts to fade. This is where men need to wake up. If you're constantly being made to feel like you're the one punching above your weight, ask yourself why. Is it because she truly brings value to your life? Or is it because you've been convinced you don't deserve better? Too often, men settle for this dynamic out of fear. Fear of being alone, or fear of losing someone they've put on a pedestal. But here's the reality. Relationships are partnerships. You're not lucky to have her. You're both fortunate to have each other. If she's constantly reminding you of her worth without acknowledging yours, then it's time to question whether she truly respects you. Men, stop settling for someone who treats you like an option while expecting to be treated like a queen. Respect yourself enough to demand mutual appreciation. If she can't see your value without reminding you how lucky you are, then it's time to move on. Wake up. Your worth isn't determined by someone else's inflated self-importance. When a woman says, "all men are the same," you might think it's just a passing comment or a moment of frustration. But let's face it, this phrase carries a lot more weight than it seems. It's not just about men in general, it's about you. Whether she says it directly to your face or throws it out in casual conversation, it's a red flag you can't ignore. Why? Because this statement is rooted in resentment. It's a sweeping generalization that lumps you into the same category as every man who has ever hurt her, lied to her, or let her down. And let's be real, you shouldn't have to carry the baggage of someone else's past. The problem with this mindset is that it's impossible to win. If she truly believes that all men are the same, then nothing you do will ever be good enough. You could be the most loyal, hardworking, and loving partner, but in her eyes, you're still just another guy who's bound to disappoint her. This isn't just unfair, it's toxic. Here's where men often make a mistake. They try to prove her wrong. They bend over backward, trying to show her they're different or better than the men she's referring to. But let me ask you this. Why should you have to prove anything? Why should you have to pay for the mistakes of men who came before you? A healthy relationship doesn't require constant validation or competition with ghosts from the past. This phrase also reveals something deeper. She might not be ready for a healthy relationship. If she's stuck in a cycle of distrust and bitterness, it's not your job to fix her. You can't heal someone who's unwilling to let go of their negative beliefs. Men, take this as your wake-up call. If she sees you as just another face in the crowd of all men, then she doesn't see your unique value. And if she doesn't see your value, then why are you wasting your time? Don't settle for being treated like a stereotype. Walk away from anyone who projects their unresolved issues onto you. You're not the same, you're better than that, and you deserve a partner who recognizes it. Men, here's the harsh truth. The wrong words from the wrong person can destroy your confidence, your peace, and even your sense of self-worth. If you're hearing these phrases and staying in the relationship, you're not being patient or understanding. You're being blind. Let me say it loud and clear. Love isn't supposed to feel like a battle for your sanity. Here's the controversial part. It's better to walk away from a toxic woman than to stay and try to fix what was broken long before you entered her life. You can't heal someone who thrives on control, manipulation, or unresolved bitterness. And the longer you stick around, the more you lose. Your time, your energy, and sometimes even your sense of who you are. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you experienced any of these phrases in your relationships? What happened and how did you handle it? Drop your stories in the comments and I'll be reading every single one of them. I might even respond personally because this isn't just about creating a video. It's about creating a community. Together, we can navigate these challenges and build stronger, healthier connections. Remember, you deserve better. Know your worth and never settle.